magnificent morning, awesome afternoon, and good evening, wonderful evening. This is Carla from MindPlore with Carla and Friends, and today I am here with Pastor Billy. You know him if you've been watching the show. Victor Irving Jenkins. And I did this backwards. Usually I do the ladies first. And Huma Tariq. And we are talking about the power of being in the present moment. Really, we only have the present moment. There's nothing that we have that isn't in the present. However, we worry about what was said maybe 2 minutes ago, but that's in the past. You've already did something nice, or you made a mistake and said something you didn't want to say, and it's causing regret. Or we can be very happy. We can be worrying about the future. Will Huma come to the show? Will Pastor Billy show up on time? Will Victor say something really dumb and I'll be sorry that he's here because he begins talking and shutting him up is not the easiest thing to do. But what we really have is this one moment. Kind of regret what I said about Victor, but he's smiling, so it works. Pastor Billy, I'd like you to kind of keep your attention here and not to the side now, because we're live and people may be watching. And the important thing is staying in the moment. And I want to start off with people telling me what being in the present moment means to them. And I think I'm going to start with Huma. What does it mean to be in the present moment in your viewpoint?
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Carla, for having me once again. All I can say that what it means to be in the present moment, like, here's good news for all of us who are overthinkers, like who think a lot about past and a lot about future. And it's a good news for them that if you want to think a lot about past and future, you still need to be present, because your present makes your past and your present makes your future. If you are worried about anything past, that was what you did. That was the present moment of that moment. And what will you do tomorrow? You will do in the present moment of the future. So it's proved that all we have is present. We don't have anything else. We are not somewhere else. All we have, we have power of now. We have our power in doing whatever you want to do. It's only in now, not anywhere else. So the reason why we get lost somewhere else is because we attached our emotions somewhere else, or we give our emotions, our power, to someone else. So for recognizing it, we need to be whole soul, completely be ourselves, and stop the voice that's the chatterbox that we were talking about a few shows back. We need to stop the chatterbox that goes in the mind. There's a favorite writer of mine. It's a famous one, the Power of Now, the Eckhart Tolle. He perfectly describes a example in his book that have you ever experienced that when the exhaust fan stops in the kitchen, or the washing machine stops in the washing area? Then we realize that, oh, it was running. Now I can feel the peace. Oh, it was running for so long. There is a constant voice in the back in us also that needs to be stopped. And without realizing, we have turned it on, and we are in the moment, but thinking about something else. So that voice at the back, it needs to be stopped. And it cannot be done without knowing ourselves. The reason is we are disconnected with ourselves, that we don't know what to do.
Mm.
That's what really is.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go a little further. How do you keep yourself in the present moment?
Right. I do very small practices. Like if I wash my hands, I just don't wash my hands. I actually feel the water, the temperature of the water. I try to guess the temperature of the water, and I feel the germs are moving away. It's washing away from my hands. If I drink water, or if I eat any food, I just don't eat it. I feel the texture. Whenever I feel myself lost in the thoughts, and then whenever I feel anxiety, I do the practice. So if I'm working in the garden, I just don't work in the garden. I actually feel the texture of the soil, the texture and the smell of the leaves. And I go deep down into the color of it, and I think why the color is different, why the smell is different, and what can I do to make it more green. So I try to go into details after details after details. And another practice that I do, which I feel very effective so far, it's very effective, that when I feel my power, I'm losing my power, and I get that overthinking thoughts over and over, I just tell myself that I tell those thoughts that, okay, I'm doing my work right now, come later at 7 o'clock. And I and i actually dedicate half an hour for overthinking, and I say that is my time for overthinking, and I will not do anything else in this time. And trust me, when I actually do it, I don't get those thoughts at the time, because there at that time I'm more conscious and I'm available there as an observer of the thoughts. At that moment, I have the power, and those thoughts doesn't have power. I just take my power back from the thoughts. That's what I do.
Okay, but we're talking about the present moment. And when we're talking about the present moment, we are also talking about right now. Let's say I said something that upset you. How do you deal with it right now? Not what you do when you're in the garden, or not what you do when you're washing dishes, because you're not working with water right now. There's water nowhere near you. What do you do?
Right. So for that, I need to think that what I'm saying, what did you say to me? Now, what do I have in my hand to respond and that? Right. If what she's saying is correct, she has her opinion. I would say you have all the right to say, to express your opinion. And I would say, is it should I be offended? Should I judge myself too? What Carla said to me, if I get hurt? And what I do, I try to
You
analyze.
try or do you do?
What?
Do you try or do you do? I want you to take your hand and try to place it on your head. Now, please.
I try to do. I actually do.
No. I don't want you to talk. I just want you to do what I'm telling you to do. Try to place your hand on your head.
Okay.
Don't talk. Try to place your hand on your, in front of you, or take it down. Try to put your hand down. Try to place your hand on your head again. Just do what I'm telling you to do.
Okay.
Try to put your hand down. Try to put your hand down.
All right.
Yeah.
Did you try to do anything or did you do
I do anything.
Did you
for me?
Did you try? I'm talking to you. I'm actually talking to everyone.
Yes.
Did you try to do something or did you actually do it?
We actually do it,
Yeah.
but we try to do it.
Just the words. Did you try or did you do it? Pastor Billy, you need some light on your face, please. Thank you. Did you try to put your hand on your head or did you do it?
I did do it.
Okay, did you try to put your hand down or did you do it?
I actually put it down.
So do you actually try to do something or do you actually do it?
I actually do it.
Okay, do you see the point that I'm making?
Mm-hmm.
Can you try to do anything? Or do you do it?
We do it.
Okay,
I do it.
think of a baby. When a baby is learning to walk, does he try to stand up or does he do it?
He do it. He does it.
Whether he actually stands up or not, is he doing it or is he trying to do it?
He's doing it.
Right. So
Yeah.
can we try to do anything? Or do we just do it?
We just do it.
Do you see my point here?
Now I could see where you are going. Yeah.
So when you are in the present moment, are you trying to do anything or are you doing it?
We are doing it in the present moment.
Right.
Right.
Whether it's something you have learned to do or something you are learning to do, you're doing that practice.
Right.
You're doing that activity. So should we use that word try?
It depends. We can use it where needed.
Why? Do you ever try to do anything?
We have power to do it. We have consciously, when we are conscious, we can do it, whatever we want. We don't try to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
And that goes with everything in the world. We don't try to do anything. We just do it. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Reverend Pastor Billy, what do
Yeah.
you have to say about that?
Yeah. I love that because I always tell people, try to lift up your left foot. And they lift it up. And I was like, you tried, right? Well, no, you didn't try. You just did it. So, because people all the time, and this is really when we're talking about the power of being in the present. Okay, hang on to please fasten your seatbelts. If you feel a little lightheaded, the oxygen will drop down from the ceiling and you can follow this conversation. So we just need to do it. That's the Nike theme. Just do it. And, some people say, well, I'm going to try to run a 26-mile marathon. Well, what do? Do they think about it or do they actually sign up for it on a website and then they show up at the stadium? They put on their shorts and their t-shirt, they get a number, they put on their sneakers, their jogging paraphernalia, and they don't try to do it, they're doing it. And they may not make it to the finish line because 26 miles, I know Victor does marathons, but 26 miles is a long way to run. But the two words, when we're talking about the power of being in the present, here are the two words that I think about. And, because I meet with a lot of people, as our viewers do, as all of you do every day. I just came from a granddaughter's concert, and the two words that I think of are consumed and attention. So what do I mean by that? And I'll be brief because brevity is next to godliness. When we're in a conversation with someone, we have to be consumed with that conversation. I know that all of us have been to events that, you know, if we're talking with someone and then, you know, we see their gaze adverted to the left or to the right, and everybody's always looking for somebody else to talk to, right? Have you ever been in that situation? And I go to a lot of parties, I go to a lot of events, and what I do is the person I'm talking to, I'm fully consumed with them, consumed. And then the other word is attention. I have to pay full attention. Now, I know some people are so poor that they can't pay attention. That's a joke for Victor. And I know, Victor, would you put that in your retinue? But, you know, I want to be paying full attention to the individual that I'm talking to. Why? Because when we're talking about the power of being in the present, what that means to that person that you're talking to, it's telling them that they are very important, that they are the only person that you're consumed with, that you're paying attention to, and that you're loving at that moment. You know, God forbid that we are distracted when we're talking with people, right? And, you know, this is a thing that kids can detect immediately. You know, for the parents out there that are viewing, if you're not fully engaged, if you're not consumed with speaking to your son or daughter, if you're not paying attention to them, you know, if you're on your phone, then when we have family dinners, all 21 of our family gather together, everybody puts away their phone. I issue a royal decree: no phones at the dinner table, no texting, no checking, you know, the text, you know, ping, 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 turn it off. So anyway, those are my random demented thoughts. I'll turn it back over to Victor to qualify what I just said.
Can you turn it back over, or Carla can turn it? But let's go back to Carla first.
All right, Carla, there you go.
I have a question for you. So when you're talking about being in the present moment, is that this moment right now?
Yes.
And are you trying or are you doing?
I'm doing it. I'm looking right at Carla and Victor and Huma. I'm looking right at you through my little circle on the top of my laptop. So I'm not trying. I'm doing it. I'm doing it in the moment. The power of being present in the moment. So I'm doing it right now. But if I was like this and I was having a conversation to somebody over here or somebody over there, you would say, Carla, you would say, hey, Pastor Billy, you need to be in the moment. You're distracted. And I would say, oh, you know what? You're right. Thank you, Carla. We love you.
Okay.
So I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
When you are in your official capacity of a pastor, and someone comes and says something you don't like, how do you get back to the present moment?
Well, first of all, if they say something they don't like, you know, maybe I have a thread on a button on my shirt that's hanging down or something simple like that. I just say thank you. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. So I think when people take us out of being present in the moment, that we need to quickly respond and say thank you, or I appreciate you bringing that to my attention, and then get right back into the moment. But in that moment, I'm in that moment. If you get my drift up and here, up and here.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Victor,
Yes.
what is your relationship to the present moment?
I must point out that when you think of the moment, it is important to understand that your whole life is consistent of a series of present moments. One present moment followed by another present moment, followed by another present moment that really seems to disappear right after you get it, like the moment I just had. What is important is to realize that every moment, every present moment is a sort of a seed, and every present moment is a sort of a result. So the present moment that I'm having now results from some seed that I planted earlier. One seed, when I said I'd be on Carla's show, created this present moment right here. You had asked a couple of us, when someone says something to upset you, how do you get back in the present moment? And I could speak to that. If and when someone says something to upset me, it's cause of a present moment that I treated as a seed for me to get upset. It is difficult for me to get upset because of the present moments of the past where I have come to understand that I'm the one that determines whether I get upset. And I've determined that other people are not trying to upset me. If I were to take one of my present moments and experience an upset, it's not because of something someone else said or something someone else did. One of my present moments, I came to the conclusion that human beings don't want to upset other human beings. Human beings try not. They say that they don't want to upset other human beings. So if a human being finds themselves getting upset, it's probably because of a present moment that they use to plant a thought that allowed them to get upset, if you can follow the analogy. So that if I were to find myself upset, that would be a moment that I would experience and get rid of immediately. Because the thing that makes the present moment powerful is the fact that you have to manage it with that thing called your mind. Your natural tendency is not to experience the present moment. Your natural experience is to ruminate on the past moments. So since that's your natural tendency, if you are able to live in the present moment, if you are able to manage it right now, that is extremely powerful. And if you can manage that, you should be congratulating yourself and use some of your present moments for congratulating yourself. Because when you congratulate yourself for this moment, that makes the next moment that much sweeter.
Okay, I agree. But there are times, and I mentioned this to Pastor Billy, I mentioned it to Huma, and I'm going to mention it to you. There are times that, yes, we get in the past because maybe I said something that upset you. Or instead of reacting or responding, we react. What do you do to keep yourself from reacting, from responding instead of, no, from reacting instead of responding?
The incidence of me being upset is constantly decreased. If you were to cut an orange and squeeze it, orange juice would come out of it because that's what's in there. If you were to say something to upset me, that would be because that's what's in here. I spend my moments making sure that that's not in here. It is very, my sweetie, my wife, who I love, comes the closest to seeing something to upset me. And other human beings, the moment where I'm upset, it's somewhere out in the future because it's not going to be this one. And so I don't have to plan about what to do when someone upsets me because they're not upsetting me right now in this moment. Chances are they won't.
But
So what happens? What kind of juice comes out, Victor, when we squeeze you?
Love, nothing but love, man.
Huma,
Nothing but
what kind of
love.
juice comes out when we squeeze you?
Love juice. That's what I'm telling
right.
you. I'm just going to love you no matter what you do. That's my commitment. My present moments are spent thinking about times when I was successfully walking in love so that I can walk in love in this moment and when the next moment comes as well. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle that I enjoy. I'm enjoying it right now.
what do you think of that, Humphrey? Because I sort of question that. There are things that happen that are not necessarily planned. And, you know, like my dog died recently.
Yeah.
That was not and has not been a very easy thing for me to deal with. How do you react when you're in a moment that is uncomfortable? Do you say, oh, I'm always in love? Or do you react or do you respond? And how do you remember to respond instead of reacting?
So that's the way I do. I actually look into and say, do I have choice to change it? What had happened? If I don't have choice, then I have to accept. So whatever incident we face, like as you said, your dog died, which is very hard for you to cope. It was, you stayed with him for, I think, 13 years or something.
Yeah.
So,
oh, you saw that post. Okay.
yes. It was so cute too. And I know how hard it is. We get attached to somebody. We give love to somebody a lot through all these years. Yeah. So all you have is are two options, either to accept it or change it. So now you can ask consciously. Now the way I do, I ask myself consciously, do I have choice to change it or accept it? If I can't change it, I just have to accept it and do what I can do. We can do prayer for the thing for the dog, pray for you, and be kind and have go through all the good memories you had with your dog. So that's all we have. That drags us away from the past again, away from the from worry, and take us back to the present.
Okay, so we're in the present moment, and everything you said, which I'm just playing devil's advocate. So please don't take it any other way. As the devil's advocate, losing the dog was very difficult for me. I have to be honest. And I have found that it's been extremely difficult. I don't have anyone to make me go out and walk. I go out and walk, but not at the same schedule. How do you suggest that I handle that? How do you suggest I get to the present moment instead of saying, oh, he's gone? Does that make sense? Does the question make sense?
Is that everybody or just Huma?
I'm asking Huma, but I'm going to go through the crowd.
So from my side, what you can do whenever you go for a walk, again, you can think of all the good times you had with him.
Is
And
that living in the present moment or is that living in the past?
living in the present moment, but as a gratitude, not as resentment or not just for grief, just for happiness, just for gratitude that you are lucky that you had him, and all these years you had somebody to be with you who actually gave you so much joy and happiness, and who remained with you all the time to to that made you feel happy and joyful and blissful. And meanwhile you can think of having another talk, and you can you can have the same things again, you can feel the same experience again. Of course, it will be in your memories, in good words, with gratitude. That's all you can do, because you cannot change it. Either you can accept it or change it. But when you cannot change it, enjoy the present moment, be in the present moment, and think of the memories in a good way. That's
But
from
the dog himself is gone. That's, it's over a week ago now. Am I living in the present moment when I'm wondering what's going on? And I have to admit, I am a bit crazy. Everyone knows that. But in that craziness, when he left, because I was holding him a few seconds later, I felt him say, "Oh, thank you, Mom. You did the right thing. Let's move on." So, where is the present moment here?
See,
I'll get to you, Victor. Don't worry.
it is natural. When you have injury, it doesn't heal in just a day. You get that? When you get a cut, when you feel pain in the cut, you cannot expect the cut to be healed in a day. It might take, it's a natural healing thought process to heal in a day, 2 3, and in a week you will see the cut 70% healed. So similarly, when you feel yourself going back in the same grief, accept yourself. Don't judge yourself. Be in the moment. Being in the moment means you are not judging yourself that, oh, I'm again in the past. I'm again grieving about him. That's fine. That's completely fine. It heals itself. It's a natural process, just like an injury. So when you accept yourself as you are, that is also a gesture to be in the present, isn't it?
Okay.
What
Thank you. Let's hear what Victor wanted to speak. So I'll go to Pastor Billy soon, who is a little distracted anyway.
Just taking
Victor?
notes. Taking notes.
Taking notes. Okay. I'd love to see them. I don't know what you're. Okay, Victor, you wanted to say something.
You asked a question. You said, if you think about Bodhi, are you in the present moment? I say that you are in the present moment.
Yeah.
Your mind, who I alluded to earlier, is in charge of all your moments, doesn't know the difference between something you're thinking about and something you're actually doing. While Bodhi may not be here, thinking about when you first picked him up is a moment. Thinking about the moment that he died is a moment. And you can decide which one of those moments you want to spend this moment doing. Everyone understands about the process of grief, and grief is a series of moments. So if you decide to think about how wonderful the first few weeks, months, or the first moments that you experienced Bodhi, if you thought about that, it would most probably bring a smile to your face. By actually dwelling on the fact that he's no longer here, by actually using your moment to make yourself feel bad, you may be actually being a little selfish, in that Bodhi, if he could have a want, he would not want you doing that. He would not want you lamenting his loss. He would want you appreciating the time that you spent with him. He would want you thinking about the last time he licked your face. That's what he would want you to be doing. So you are having a hard time, as you say, and certainly the hard time that you're having is most probably because you're thinking about the fact that you don't have Bodhi, as opposed to thinking about the fact that you had Bodhi. And both of those things are no more than thoughts, and moments themselves are no more than thoughts. And you have the power to direct your thoughts any way you want. I never have touched Bodhi, but I can appreciate seeing him on the screen. I can appreciate the interaction you and he had on the screen, and I can do that anytime.
Okay, and I agree. He was always next to me. He didn't want to leave me. He barked at the screen at times. Thank you, Pastor Billy.
Yeah. I got a radical thought. I'm going to drop into the conversation.
Do it. I dare you. Do it.
All right. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to try to do it. I'm just going to do it.
So how are you going to do it? What are you going to do?
Memory.
Okay, it's a memory. Very true.
And again, I believe that, isn't it amazing that we have an unlimited capacity for memory? We never run out of memory. Right now on this laptop that I'm dealing with, I get a message about once a day, I'm running out of memory. However, if I could just share a little bit about my world view, God created memory for a reason, okay? That may not be everybody's bias or worldview that's on the call today that's viewing us, but think about this, that we have unlimited memory. We can, to pick up on what you're all saying, I actually know what your dog looks like, Carla, because you posted that picture on Facebook, and I know what Bodhi, that was the dog's name, in case Victor didn't, he was saying Bodhi's name, but I don't know if everybody picked up on that. But Bodhi was your dog's name. And so God's given us a memory that we can remember. And therefore, let me make the connection here. Memory is living in the present moment. And that's powerful because God has given us facial recognition software. I know Huma because I've seen her before. If I was walking down the street, wherever she is, and I saw her, I would say, hey, I know you from Carla's MindPlore. And, if I saw Victor, I would say, Victor, wow, I remember the last time we were together on MindPlore, you were wearing the American flag as a polo shirt, and you had that glorious library behind you. So I'll make the argument that memory is living in the present moment. Why? Because I'm thinking about all the good things, whether you're thinking about a lifelong dog you had, or maybe you're thinking about a child, or you're thinking about a spouse. I think we all recognize that, and I talk about this all the time, nothing in life is permanent. Right? It's all temporary. Whether it's a can of soda we're drinking, or a piece of pizza, as we're eating, that pizza, we eat it, it's gone, but it actually becomes part of us. You remember what we used to say back in the 60s, although Victor and Huma were not there, but there was a saying, you are what you eat. So, we would eat a piece of pizza, and that pepperoni, cheese, tomato sauce, and dough would become a part of you. And so we have great, I thank God for memories, the particularly the good memories, and that memory is unlimited. Can you imagine that? We don't have to go to Best Buy or the computer store and say, hey, can I get a 2 terabyte chip inside my head? So God is good, right? He created us with unlimited memory, and I'm very grateful for that, Carla, that I remember you. It's not like I forget you from one show to the next. I remember how wonderful Carla is, and I remember that picture of little Bodie as he was passing into dog eternity, and so I thank God for memory, and memory is the power of being in the present. So, and let me, yeah.
Question, is memory living in the past? Or is
not at the moment you're having it. Not at the moment you're having it.
Not at the moment you're having it. Exactly, because you make it the present, even though it's an event that happened in the past. But you're not thinking about Bodhi all the time, are you, Carla?
Oh, no.
Yeah, I know. You got other things. So
I may do better if I was, but
I'm not thinking about Victor all the time.
And I don't understand why. Why would you not be thinking of me all the time?
I don't think about
why wouldn't everybody?
All the time. I don't think about Huma all the time. Maybe I should think about Huma all the time. But anyway, it
would certainly be understandable.
Yeah, you guys look so smart. Huma and Victor have libraries behind them. I have a blank ceiling. So I'm glad to be among smart and wonderful, tremendous people. And I'm living in the moment. And that's powerful. Bang, bang.
Carla, the flip side of this whole memory discussion is that on the other side of memory is imagination. And your mind doesn't know the difference between a memory and an imagination and something that's really happening. If you chose to, you could imagine seeing Bodhi again. You can imagine meeting Bodhi and rejoining each other and being glad to see each other. And that's another moment that you could live in. So this mind that I love this mind. This mind will bring you all sorts of things. And the stuff that you spend your moment after moment after moment after moment thinking about will seem as if it is your reality.
Sonia Marara, who's watching, just wrote, I can't read. I lost my mom 3 months ago, but I remember her with love. Is that being in the moment? Yes. Or is that being
at the moment she does it? Yeah.
And she loves her dog.
Yeah. And
we all,
we all offer our condolences. It's a tough thing to lose your mom. So the woman who gave birth to you. So right. Our condolences.
You couldn't even be on this planet if it wasn't for that woman. You, and also your father, to be more blunt. Huma, what do you think about this discussion about the moment and memories and thoughts and all of this? And how do we keep from keep ourselves responding instead of reacting?
I think, first of all, Victor Irving, you gave a perfect answer for the question Carla asked about how to cope up with the way she lost her dog. And as Pastor Billy said, the memory you were asking about, the way I deal it, they perfectly said, the memory, we have no control over memory. It's a gift from God, and it has, you cannot control it. and you cannot remove the memory out of your brain. And if it does, it is counted as a disease. Like it cannot happen. But if you have any memory, a past memory in your present, now you have choice how you are perceiving this memory. For example, I lost my father several years back, and I still think of him. I cannot erase him out of my memory. So whenever I think of him, I think and I still cherish of the good memories I had with him. And it makes me happy, actually, that I was so lucky that I spent so many years with my father, like 27 years with my father. And it actually makes me happy. So now we have choice. If we have a thought of the past, how we think of the thought. If we are thinking in the sense of should have beens and could have beens and might have beens, now that is trouble. Now this is where you need to work on your thinking. Here's the moment you should not actually try to switch your thinking. You should switch your pattern, the way you are thinking. There should not be any should have beens and could have beens. So this is how all we can deal with the memory, because memory is there. It's the tool in the brain, and we cannot take it out of ourselves.
Okay. Pastor Billy, you're nodding your head. What
Yeah.
would you like to say?
I had the opposite experience of Huma. She has a great memory of her dad. I have, frankly, and we're always honest here on MindPlore as we plore into our minds. I have very bad recollections of my father. And so Huma was talking about choices. So I choose to remember the very few good things about my dad, and I try to flush away all the bad things about my dad. Now, how do you do that? Well, the power of being in the present is the ability to focus and make the choice of thinking about the good things, right? I mean, we can be in conversation with another human being, and maybe we don't like the way they look, we don't like the way they smell, we don't like the way, whatever. And yet we need to focus on what is the good in that individual, And like, for example, I work a lot with refugees overseas. I'm in the tents. I'm in the IDP camps. I'll be a week from today. I'll be over in Africa in an IDP camp. So I could focus on the poverty, the tragedy that brought these people into the IDP, the internally displaced people's camp. Or I can say to myself, wait a minute. This individual, this man, this woman, this teenager, this child that I'm speaking to right now, and I'm in the moment because they're right in front of me, or I'm sitting in the, underneath the United Nations blue tarp that they give to refugees. And you know what I say to myself? And this is really liberating, and I hope that all the viewers can just drink this in. Here's what I say when I'm meeting with someone who perhaps is very unlike me, that is in a very difficult place. And, you're in the squalor of a refugee camp. This is what I think. This person that I'm talking with is created in the image of God. They have that image of God resting in their essence, resting in their being. And I just give a shout out and I say, thank God that I'm here to be in their presence, and I elevate them above me. And I don't treat them as, well, I'm coming as a humanitarian and I'm going to help you. No, they're actually helping me. Imagine that. And so I'm seeing the image of God in them. And so even though it might not be a joyful moment, but and that I also wrote down that word joy, and I'll conclude with this, is that when we the power of being in the present when we're communicating with another human being that maybe is not like us is that we have joy when we see that they're created in God's image. And that joy, that gives us the ability to love them, even though they may be very different from me. And, you know, I really believe that that's how we can cure things like classism and racism and all these other isms. You know, if we see people that are just like us, created in the image and likeness of God, then that gives us joy, because and that joy then will bounce off from us into them, and we can love that individual even though they're different from us.
You know, a moment ago, I mentioned something about every moment being a seed and every moment being a harvest. And each moment that you use as a seed or harvest, you actually can purposefully create seeds so that the harvest that you get is impacted. And I'll briefly tell you what I mean. I make deliveries to people several times during the day. And when I make a delivery at an apartment, there are empty parking spaces, and I just pull into one indiscriminately, go out and make my delivery, and get back in my car and go on about my business. The whole process takes maybe 1 to 2 minutes. A woman stopped me one day. I had just gotten out of my car. She come out of her apartment, leaned over the banister and said to me, excuse me, are you coming to visit someone, or are you just a delivery guy? I said, oh, I'm just a delivery guy, thinking that that was the answer she wanted. She says, well, you're going to have to park over there because the space that you're in is mine. Now, there was no car in the space where I parked. There was no car waiting to get in the space that I parked. The moment following the moment when she said something to me could have been difficult. But you see, I have trained myself with the moments of my past so that I understand that whatever was motivating her, it wasn't what I thought was motivating her, which I could have easily thought, she's just trying to mess with me. She's just trying to be difficult. She's over controlling. Wow, all these sorts of things. But those moments had been eliminated in my past. So I made the decision darn near immediately to just say, okay, and jumped in my car and moved it. So considering how moments are seeds and moments are harvests, the moment that we all are having right now results from a seed that we planted in a previous moment. And the seed that the seed of the thought that we are all of God's children has been planted by Pastor Billy, has been planted by me, may have been planted by the other two of you. But when that seed is planted, those moments that grow subsequently are just simply going to be moments to create another seed of the same thing.
And I agree with you, because every moment moves to the next moment. I have a very dear friend who has trouble sometimes dealing with the moment. And because of that person and his actions, it becomes very difficult for me. So I need to be careful. I need to learn how to heal myself and move away. But I find myself reacting, saying, oh, that happened because I did something wrong. We need to remember often that we may not have done anything wrong. It has to deal where that person is in the head at that very moment. And we often forget to do that. Huma, what would you like to say to that?
Victor Irving said perfectly that the thing he said about it's in our hand. The seed we grow, we sow in past affects our present, and the example he gave. That's all I could say. That for example, if we are affected by what people say about me, for example, if Pastor Billy said something about me, or I feel hurt, and if his opinion changes in a month and he says something good about me, then I feel good. And then again, in a few days, he thinks that no, she's not a good girl, and it affects me again. So it means I am the slave of what he is thinking. I have given my emotion to him. Okay, this is my power. There you go. And this is how things affect us. So that's the way I want to conclude is take the power back. Just as I learned in this session that I will not try to use the word try.
Because you can't try, you can only do.
Right. So I actually, this is unconsciously, we keep using the words that we are not aware of. We keep using that, it becomes a pattern and it comes just out naturally.
Right.
The power is in our hand and we should avoid it. And we should take the power back by not affecting anything that has, in anything that you have choice with. I have choice of not letting myself affected with anything. Be in the moment and observe yourself, how you are feeling, and the things that you need to heal in yourself to be in the present. That's what I want to conclude it with.
Okay, Pastor Billy.
Yeah, I guess we're wrapping up here pretty soon.
Yeah.
And I just want to remind all of us that are viewing, and I'll remind myself as well, because I always need reminders. All right. I know I can get an amen on that somewhere up in here. And, you know, the power of being in the present, is very powerful. That may sound a little redundant, but it is powerful, because I'll go back to how we opened up the show. Whenever we're with another human being, I want to be consumed with who they are, and I want to pay attention to them. And when I'm in the moment, even though I'm bringing up memories that we've talked about, that's powerful. Even those memories are powerful. And then seeing each other as made in the image of God. And, you know, I remind people all the time that God loves you and has a wonderful plan for your life. I even say that to my atheist friends. And in fact, sometimes with my atheist friends, I'll fake sneeze. I'll go, achoo. And then if they say, God bless you, then I'll say, oh, you really are a believer. Just kidding. But that's how I like to prank my atheist friends. But anyway, God loves you and has a wonderful plan for your life. And back to you, Carla.
And Victor.
I'll just end with the stanza of a song I recently heard. Lord, keep me in the moment. I don't want to miss what you have for me.
Sweet.
Okay. Does anyone else have any final words before I end the show? Yes, no, maybe.
No.
Okay, so we're all in the present moment, but we all need to remember that responding is more conducive to helping a relationship grow than reacting. And if we respond, those words may be heard. But when we react, you never know what's going to be heard. And with that, MindPlore will come back on Tuesday, I believe. with another topic, another group of people, and we will talk about something of some value, or maybe not any value. Just be here. And with that, can we all wave goodbye?
Bye.
Bye.